All right, so let's dive into this whole Trump, Elon Musk, H-1B visa thing. It's everywhere right now. Headlines, opinions, the whole nine yards. We've got Salon, New York Times, Huffington Post, even stuff from Italy and China. And honestly, who can keep up with all that?
Right. It's a lot.
Exactly. So that's why you sent us this stack of articles. You want to cut through the noise, figure out the facts beyond the spin. What's the real story with these H-1B visas, and what does it mean for you?
Well, it's really fascinating because this goes way beyond just visas. It's about what kind of country America wants to be, its place in the global talent pool.
Yeah, for sure. And we're starting with what seems like classic Trump contradiction. He's all about H-1B now, even told the New York Post, I have many H-1B visas on my properties.
But wait a minute, wasn't his whole thing tough on immigration?
Yeah.
Build the wall? That was basically the soundtrack to his rallies.
Oh, absolutely. That hardline stance on immigration, it was core to the whole MAGA movement. And now this support for H-1B visas, it clashes with what a lot of his base expects. So how do we explain this flip-flop? Genuine change of heart? Or is it strategic, especially with his close ties to Elon Musk?
Well, we have to look at Trump's past actions. They speak pretty loud. In 2017, his executive order made H-1B requirements tougher. In 2020, his administration tried to really limit those visas. So this new stance, maybe it's about Musk, who's a huge advocate for H-1B, or maybe it's about the economy, how things are changing.
Ah, yes, Musk. Always ready for a fight, even said he'd go to war over this. He sees H-1B as crucial for American innovation, says it helped his companies succeed. Tesla, SpaceX, all of them. But it's like he's fighting a war on two fronts, against those who just oppose the program, against Trump, whose stance is, well, inconsistent.
Exactly. It's a real dilemma for Trump, balancing the needs of a tech-driven economy, which Musk represents, with the worries of his base who are mostly suspicious of any immigration.
And here's where it gets trickier. The New York Times reported Trump mainly used H-2B visas at his properties, not H-1B. Seems like a pretty important detail. Can you break down the difference? It's easy to get lost in all the visa categories.
Absolutely. It's a key difference. H-2B is for temporary, unskilled workers. Landscaping, hospitality, that kind of seasonal labor, construction, tourism. H-1B is for skilled professionals with specialized knowledge, mostly in STEM. Software engineers, scientists, doctors, people with advanced degrees.
So Trump's saying he has all these H-1B visas. Maybe stretching the truth a bit, especially if he's mainly using H-2B.
Yeah, this discrepancy raises questions. Does he really understand these programs? Or is he blurring the lines on purpose? Hard to say for sure, but it makes his true stance on H-1B hard to figure out.
And this isn't just a policy debate, it's causing a real split in the MAGA movement.
You're right, that Huffington Post article goes into this divide. You've got the traditional anti-immigration group worried about jobs, cultural change. They see H-1B as a threat.
Yeah.
But there's also a growing group within MAGA who see the need for skilled workers, especially in tech and AI, to keep America competitive.
It's interesting how political movements evolve. This isn't just theoretical. Look at Sriram Krishnan, Trump's AI advisor. He got hammered online for pro-immigration views. So how can Trump reconcile these two sides of his base, trying to have it both ways?
That's the big question, and we'll be looking into it more as we go deeper. This struggle within MAGA is mirrored on the global stage. What's happening with H-1B in America isn't happening in isolation.
You know, that makes sense because we have articles from Ad Kronos in Italy and the South China Morning Post.
Right, and they show how other countries are watching what America does. Because the U.S. has always been a magnet for talent, the best minds from everywhere. But what if that changes?
Yeah, if America signals it's not so welcoming to skilled workers anymore, wouldn't that be a huge opening for other countries?
Absolutely. Places like Canada, Australia, even parts of Europe. They're making it easier for skilled workers to come. They see a chance. Because in the end, it's all about global competition for talent. Every country wants those bright minds who drive innovation and growth. You know, it's striking how we talk about H-1B visas, statistics, economics, but we're talking about people, human beings, people with dreams, families who want to contribute.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's easy to forget the human side when you're talking about policy.
Right, these are highly skilled professionals. They could work anywhere. But they choose to come to America, bring new ideas, a drive to succeed. It enriches our society. It's not just filling jobs.
Yeah, it's about more than that. It's about people wanting to be part of the American story, building a life here.
And for many, that H-1B visa is the way to achieve the American dream. To build a life, contribute, create opportunities for their kids. And it's not just about individual goals, it's what they bring to our society.
I mean, a diverse, talented workforce, that's what fuels innovation. It keeps America competitive. Plus, the cultural richness that immigrants bring. They make America more vibrant, more dynamic with their unique experiences.
Absolutely. And yet, that human side gets lost in all the heated rhetoric.
Mm.
Especially online, social media is an echo chamber. Misinformation spreads so fast. It's tough to have a nuanced conversation when algorithms amplify the extremes.
Yeah, and we saw that with Sri Ramakrishnan. The attacks on him were brutal, often based on totally distorted information. It shows how social media can be used to shut down debate, silence different views.
It creates this chilling effect. People are afraid to even talk about these things.
Yeah.
For fear of being attacked online, it makes you wonder, how can we have a productive conversation about H-1B when the platforms we use are designed to make people angry?
So we've got this fight within MAGA and this global competition for talent. What do you think will happen? How will this all play out?
Well, with Trump, one thing's for sure. Unpredictability. He'll change his position based on politics or who he's friends with. But what he does with H-1B, it has consequences beyond just tech. It affects the American economy, our global standing, people's lives. It's a high-stakes game, no easy answers.
And the whole world is watching.
Exactly. America's always been this beacon of opportunity for professionals. But if we start closing the door, even a little, other countries are ready. They see it as a chance to get the talent that would come to America.
There's a lot riding on this decision. It's not just visas. It's about America's role in the world. Do we welcome global talent or go back to isolationism? Big questions.
Huge questions.
Yeah.
And the answers will shape America for generations. As we dig into these sources, it's clear this isn't just immigration policy. It's something much bigger. It's about America's identity, its values, its vision for the future.
Okay, I like that. Unpack that a bit more. What do you mean?
Well, some people are really unsettled by how fast globalization is happening, by how fast technology is changing. They worry about their jobs, communities, their way of life. They see H-1B visas as part of that change, a threat to their security.
I get it. When things feel unstable, you want something familiar to hold on to, and sometimes that means pushing back against anything that feels foreign or different.
It makes sense, but ignoring those anxieties won't solve anything. And simple solutions, like stopping immigration or blaming entire groups, it will only make things worse in the long run.
So how do we deal with these anxieties in a way that's constructive, that recognizes people's real problems without resorting to fear and division?
We need to invest in education and training that prepares Americans for the future. We need to be getting people ready for the jobs that are coming, not the ones disappearing.
Like focusing on STEM, digital literacy, critical thinking. Those are the skills that are in demand in our economy.
Exactly, and we need a better safety net for workers who lose jobs due to automation or globalization. Training programs, affordable health care, child care, the kind of support that helps people adjust to change and find new opportunities.
And we can't forget about the underlying inequalities that make some people more vulnerable.
That's so important. Racism, sexism, discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. These all create economic disparities and limit opportunities.
So tackling these root causes of inequality is crucial. If we want a society where everyone has a fair chance, that's a big task.
It is ambitious, but it's necessary. This isn't just about H-1B or immigration. It's about what kind of country we want.
It's about values, priorities, our vision for the future.
Do we want to be open, diverse, embrace people from everywhere? Or do we turn inward, become protectionist, driven by fear?
Those are deep questions. The answers affect not just America, but the whole world.
Absolutely. America's actions, policies, values, they have a global impact. We need to lead by example, show the world that we can be prosperous and just, that we can be innovative and inclusive.
So this H-1B debate is part of a much bigger global conversation about the future of work, technology, and how to build a better world.
It is, and it's a conversation we all need to be part of. This whole H-1B debate, it's fascinating how it reflects these bigger anxieties, but also hopes for the future.
It really does, right? It's like a focal point for all these big questions America's facing. The economy, cultural identity, our role in the world, it's all tangled up in this one issue.
And it makes us confront some uncomfortable truths about ourselves, individually and as a nation. What does it mean to be American? What is success? What future are we building? Those kinds of questions.
Okay, lay it on me. What are those uncomfortable truths we might be dodging?
Well, one is that a lot of Americans are really worried about economic security and the speed of change in society. Globalization, automation, technology, they bring huge opportunities, but also a ton of uncertainty.
Yeah, when people see jobs going overseas or being done by robots, or their communities transforming in ways they don't get, it's natural to feel uneasy.
Of course, and sometimes it's easier to blame the other. Immigrants, foreigners, elites, anyone, rather than face the complex issues at play.
So the H-1B debate becomes this outlet for those anxieties, a way to focus those fears on something specific and say, that's the problem right there.
Exactly, but here's the catch. Ignoring those anxieties won't make them vanish. And going for simple solutions, shutting down immigration, demonizing groups, in the long run, it'll only backfire.
Okay, so how do we deal with these anxieties productively, recognizing the real struggles people have, but without resorting to fear and division?
Well, one way is to invest in education and training, so Americans have the skills for this changing economy, preparing people for the jobs that'll be around, not the ones that are fading away.
You're talking about STEM education, digital skills, critical thinking, right? The skills that are in demand in this knowledge-based economy we're in.
Right on. And we also need a stronger safety net for those who lose jobs. Because of automation or globalization, retraining programs, affordable health care, child care, things that help people adapt and find new opportunities without hitting rock bottom.
And we can't forget about the underlying inequalities. Those need addressing, too.
You got it. Systemic issues, racism, sexism, discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. These things create economic disparities and hold people back.
So tackling those root causes of inequality, that's key. If we're serious about a society where everyone gets a fair shot, that's a huge undertaking.
It's ambitious, no doubt, but it's absolutely essential because this goes beyond H-1B, beyond immigration. It's about the core of who we are as a country.
It's about our values, our priorities, the future we're aiming for.
Exactly. Do we want to be a nation that's open, diverse, valuing contributions from everyone? Or do we turn inward, become protectionist, driven by fear?
Those are some heavy questions, and the answers will have a huge impact, not just on America, but globally.
For sure, America's actions, policies, values, they set an example for the world. We have a responsibility to show that a country can be prosperous and just at the same time, innovative and inclusive.
So this H-1B debate, it's really part of a much larger conversation happening worldwide about the future of work, technology, and how to build a more equitable and sustainable world.
It is. And everyone needs to be part of that conversation.
So to our listener out there, we hope this deep dive has given you something to think about, some new angles to consider, maybe even spark some lively debates with your friends and family. It's complicated, there's no easy answers, but that's what makes it so crucial.
Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep talking about it. Because the future isn't something that just happens to us. We create it together.